Muhammad, who is he? Part 2. Chapter 2. His character. Among the known prophets of God, Muhammad the only prophet that burial place is precisely identified and his followers are certain about the exact location of his tomb. Muhammad was buried at his house which is attached to his mosque Al-Nabawiyya mosque in Medina. This photo shows the side of the mosque building where people can enter to see the tomb of Prophet Muhammad and his house which is currently gauged. Muhammad's character. Muslims have no drawings or pictures for Prophet Muhammad or the prophets before him. However, unlike the founders of the great faith traditions prior to his time, the Prophet Muhammad is much more a recognizable historical figure as his companions and family members described him very well and recorded many stories from his life for posterity. What did he look like? Muhammad was an Arab of noble lineage with a white complexion and a rosy tinge. He was a little taller than average and well built with broad shoulders. His belly never protruded out from his chest. He walked briskly and firmly. Muhammad's companions described him as a handsome person with prominent forehead, high-tipped nose, long eyelashes, large black eyes with well-set teeth and a pleasant smile. He had slightly curly hair and a thick beard. His companions indicated that he had a friendly bright face that looked like a full moon. He did not laugh loudly. His laugh was mostly a smile that would show his teeth a bit like hailstones. His cheerfulness and open personality were felt by all people. Muhammad was unfailingly cheerful, easygoing by nature, and mild-mannered. He never resorted to offensive speech or obscenities. He did not find fault with others nor did he overly praise the others. Muhammad did not speak unnecessarily and what he said was always to the point and without any padding. His sayings were precise and concise, having complete meaning in few words. He spoke with excellence, and there was no excess in it and no abnormal brevity. When he emphasized a point, he used to repeat it 3 times with a gesture. He spoke of nothing unless he hoped a reward from God for it. He told his companions, "I am a guarantor for a house at the outskirts of the paradise for those who go arguing even if they were right, and I am a guarantor for a house in the middle of the paradise for those who go teeing even if they were kidding, and I am a guarantor for a house in the highest part in the paradise for those who behave with good manners." Sahih Abu Dawud, 4974-4800. His passion. Muhammad kept his feelings under firm control. When annoyed, he would turn aside or keep silent. When someone committed an act that violates God's law, he used to show serious anger and a firm stand. No one would stand against his anger in matters of the Lord's truth being opposed. He would stand fast in protecting the truth until he had convinced another of the rightness of God's truth as revealed in the Holy Quran. Muhammad never got angry for his own sake. His interactions with people, Muhammad was always the first to greet others and would not withdraw his hand from a handshake until the other man withdrew his. Whoever saw him unexpected he would admire and revere him. And whoever socialized or associated with him familiarly, loved him. He was gentle by nature. He was neither coarse nor disdainful of anyone. When he looked at the others, he looked at them in full face. If someone called him he didn't turn his face only, but gave attention with his whole body. When he would go to visit a group, he would sit in the nearest available spot. He ordered his companions to follow his practice. He would give those seated near him his full share of attention in such a way that no one would think others had been given precedence over him. He didn't reserve fixed places among the people to be seated. He was fair with his companions and all people. They were distinguished only by virtue and devotion to God. His style of living. Everything he did was in moderation, without excess or contrariness. He never criticized the food or drink that was prepared for him, nor did he overly praise it. When at home, he would divide his time into 3 parts, one for God, one for his family, and one for himself. He always joined in household work and would at times mend his clothes, repair his shoes and sweep the floor. He used to dress well and smell good. After dawn prayers, he preferred sitting in the mosque reciting the Holy Quran and praises of Allah, till the sunrise. After midnight, he used to get up for the tahajjud, prayers, extra prayers and supplications to God at night. He declared unlawful for himself and his family anything given by people by way of the alms, zakat given by Muslims for the welfare of those in need. He was so particular about this, that he would not appoint any member of his family as a collector of alms for the community. His house was but a hut with walls of unbaked clay and a roof of palm leaves covered by camel skin. Muhammad said, "What have ye to do with worldly things? My connection with the world is like that of a traveler resting for a while underneath the shade of a tree and then moving on. 2666-2788 Musnad Ahmad. Narrated by Abdullah bin Abbas. When he died, he did not leave a cent or any property except his white mule and a piece of land which he had dedicated for the good of the community of Muslims. Sahih Bukhari. Chapter 3. His Teachings. Muhammad said, interlacing his both hands' fingers, believers are a structure like, they fasten each other. Narrated by Al-Bukhari, 481, and Muslim, 2585. Muhammad's sayings and teachings are very influential as they covered most aspects of life. They emanated from a base of wisdom and divine revelation. His sayings, actions, approvals and attributes better known as Sunnah represent the second source of Islamic legislation after the Quran. Your companion, i.e. Muhammad, has not strayed from the path of truth nor has he been deluded. Nor does he speak out of whim. The Quran, 53-2-3. Muhammad drew 3 lines on the sand and said, "This is the human being, who has many hopes and plans in this worldly life. While he lives to attain or accomplish these hopes, death comes to him." Narrated by Al-Bukhari, 6417, and Muslim, 1671. Avail 5 before 5. Your youth before senility, old age. Fitness before sickness. Wealth before poverty, needy. Free time before busy time. Life before death. Al-Hakim in Al-Mustadrak number 7846. The perfect believers are those who have the best manners. Narrated by Tirmidhi. 2 graces. Many people underestimate health and free, leisure, time. Bukhari, 6049. Envy is forbidden except in 2 cases. You wish to have the same thing others have but no bad wishes to them. The first one is a man, God bestowed on him wealth, so he spends it righteously. The second case is a man, God bestowed on him wisdom, so he acts according to it and teaches it to others. Bukhari. 73:15. Make things easy to people, concerning religious matters, and do not make it hard for them. Give them good tidings and do not make them run away. Bukhari, 69:11. Those who do honest trading and business based on clear terms, God blesses them and their business, trade. Contrary, God does not bless those who lie and hide facts. Bukhari, 2082-22. You will not be believer in God unless you like for your brethren what you like for yourself. Bukhari, 13:7. Every Muslim should pay sadaqah, spend something for charity. If he didn't find what to spend, then let him work in order to benefit himself and be able to pay charity. If he didn't find a job, then let him help others. This is an act of charity. If he didn't find anyone to help, let him do good deeds and refrain from, avoid doing bad or evil deeds. This is a charity for him. Bukhari, 1445-30. When man dies, he gains no rewards except from 3 things. In case he had dedicated a charity that people can continuously profit from, or he had left knowledge or a science that benefits the humanity, or if he had left a good, faithful son who keeps on praying and asking God's blessings and forgiveness to his parents. This is applicable for both males and females. Narrated by Muslim, Tirmidhi, Nasai. Fear Allah wherever you are, follow a bad deed with a good deed as it erases it, and deal with people with high ethics. Tirmidhi 1987 and Amp, Ahmad 5153. Goodness, rightness, is good morality, and sign misdeed is what embarrasses you, i.e. you are not comfortable within yourself, and you hate it to be known by others. Muslim, 15-2553. A strong person is not the one who throws his adversaries to the ground. A strong person is he who contains himself when he is angry. Bukhari, 5785, and Muslim, 4853. Whoever believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment should say good words or keep silent, and whoever believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment must honor, be generous with, his neighbor, and whoever believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment must honor, be generous with, his guest. Bukhari, 6018 and Amp, Muslim 74-47. Please note all of the above sayings are applicable for both males and females. I swear by God that you will not be true believers in Him unless you love each other. I will tell you something, if you do it you will love each other. Greet each other frequently and make it a common habit. Narrated by Muslim 54. No one will become a good believer unless he wishes for his brethren what he likes for himself. Narrated by Muslim 54. Whoever helps a believer overcome a difficulty, God will help him overcome a difficulty at the Day of Judgment, and God will always help an individual as long as he/she is helping others. Narrated by Muslim 2699. Don't ever underestimate any kind act, even if you meet others with a bright, smiling face. And he said, the one who greets others first is closer to God than the others. On another occasion he said to someone who asked him about a good way to deal with people, offer people food and greet whom you know and whom you don't know. Narrated by Muslim 2626. Muhammad gave women their rights. Before the advent of Islam, women had no civil rights. Arabs used to give preference to male babies over female ones to the extent that many fathers used to bury their female babies or children alive. No gender discrimination. Muhammad condemned discrimination between male and female children and taught his companions to love their children and raise them properly regardless of their sex. In fact, he emphasized giving more care and attention to female children until they grow up and get married. Muhammad said, "Women are the twin halves of men." Tirmidhi 154, 113. Women inherit like men. Before Islam, women had no right to inherit. Muhammad successfully changed this custom. Females gained the right to inherit like males. However, Muhammad did not create the Islamic inheritance system. But he conveyed God's words, preserved in the Holy Quran, which stipulate the portions for each individual, male and female, eligible to inherit. Muhammad encouraged full respect of mothers. A man asked Muhammad, "Who would deserve my closest support and companionship?" Muhammad replied, "Your mother." Then the man asked Muhammad, "Who will be after her?" Muhammad replied, "Your mother." The man asked the same question again and Muhammad replied for the third time, "Your mother." Then out of curiosity the man asked the same question for the fourth time. He realized that Muhammad wanted to emphasize the best treatment to mothers. Then Muhammad said to him, "Your father, i.e. your father deserves your closest support and company after your mother." Scholars comment on the above story that mothers cannot escape three main sufferings: 1. Pregnancy, 2. Labor and delivery, 3. And finally breastfeeding and weaning. Muhammad encouraged good treatment of wives. He stated that if a man disliked one of a woman's traits he will be pleased with another. And he said, "The believers who show the most perfect faith are those who have the best character and the best of the believers are those who are best to their wives." Tirmidhi 6188, 3895. This promotes love, harmony and mutual understanding. Freedom, justice and protection. No compulsion is an essential rule in Islam. Muhammad proclaimed himself as a messenger of God. He received a divine message to humanity and struggled to convey it to all people, but he did not force anyone to accept it. He recited the Holy Quran, which confirms the freedom of belief and freedom choice for all people. And had your Lord willed, all people in the earth would have believed, all of them, together. So will you, Muhammad, compel or force people until they become believers? The Quran, 1099. There is no compulsion in religion. Truth, the right path has become distinct from error, wrong path. And whoever rejects evil and believes in God has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. And God is all-hearer, all-knower. The Quran, 256. Morality and equality of all races. In Islam, all people are considered equal under law by reason of their being members of their human race. Piety and excellence of moral character are the only criteria for individual superiority in the eyes of God. Muhammad put it in these words: "Your Lord is one. All humankind are from Adam and Adam was created from dust. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor does a non-Arab have any superiority over an Arab except by piety. Piety motivates good deeds." Musnad Ahmad 10586, 23972. Muhammad's teachings to preserve the environment. Muhammad called for a green world. He linked the preservation of the environment to the belief in God who created all beings. Therefore, a believer in God cannot cause mischief to the environment because it is part of God's kingdom. Harming the environment and wasting or polluting its resources, water, plants, animals, soil, air, marine ecosystem, etc., is not acceptable from an Islamic point of view. Any Muslim who plants a seed that grows to a level, people or animals or birds can benefit or eat from it, then this act is considered as a sadaqah, a charity that is rewarded. Saying of Muhammad. Bukhari, 2320, and Muslim, 1188.